Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Highway Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. Roy, could you take quick attendance?
I will. 1-8, Linda O'Brien, is that you? Your phone?
Yes, it is. That's me.
Got it, Linda. Okay, Linda O'Brien, Brian Backus, Janet Wynn, Josh Hawley, Laura Robertson, Seth, Paul Briggs, Peter Ravicka, Ray Smith, Councilwoman Jakewith, Stan Faminsky, and Supervisor Syed. Matt Yetto. Have I missed anyone?
We're supposed to have somebody joining us for public comment.
I don't see them yet.
Elena just joined.
Okay, Elena.
Maybe the supervisor can let us know when he joins. He's coming at. He communicated with the supervisor.
You got it. Okay.
Let's have a quick approval of the minutes. Can we get a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Okay, second.
I'll second it.
All right, thanks. Anyone opposed to approving these minutes? All right, motions are approved. Again, Yasmin, let us know when we have our visitor.
Will do.
We'll move on to water breaks. Ray, take it away.
Okay, number one is water-related breaks within the town for the month of February. 7 related breaks, attached bill as we do every month. Number 2, highway crews, working on various snow removal and resident request list. As the weather starts to get nicer, we'll be working on, more getting ready for springtime projects and stuff like that. So currently the crews went down. They had to do some rebuilding of the dog park canopy. It got some damage this winter. So they went down and did some work there. We're also currently getting the equipment out to install the netting at River Road Park along the fence as part of the Schenectady County grant. We're just trying to get geared up to take advantage of some upcoming nice weather when we can do it before we really get into paving the roads and stuff when we have to try to do this stuff in between. So we're trying to utilize the weather the best we can. The other night with the windstorm, we had several trees down around town. Crews were out in the middle of the night cutting trees up. A few of them were in the electric lines. NIMO had to come cut the tops out. So we had crews circulate and removing the wood and stuff throughout the next day. Roads were a little slippery. We sent sanders out at 3 a.m. to alleviate any kind of morning traffic issues, being that it was so cold. So that type of stuff is going on daily. Number 3, the paving bids. Paving bid opening is on Friday, March 5th. We've had a lot of reoccurring contractors that have done work for us over the years come with interest in bidding our paving. So hopefully we get some good numbers. I talked to Michelle. Michelle's going to meet with me on Friday to do the bid opening, and we'll do it outside at Town Hall. And we'll review the results and make a list up together like we did for the materials. Number 4, personnel. As you know, we hired 2 workers in February. Thank you to everybody who supported that. Those 2 positions were left over from last year that were not filled from a retirement, actually 2 retirements. So we appreciate that, and we look forward to getting them to work. B, we have 3 retirees in March. Just a little background on them. Mike Trentini, 41 and a half years of service with the town. There's pretty much not a corner of the town that you can't go and see some of the work that Mike has done over the years for us. dedicated employee, will be missed. Mike's been a crew leader here since the mid to late 80s, and just done a tremendous job for the town. So next, Pete Countryman, 32 years of service. He is currently our body shop guy, does all our painting and refurbishment of all the vehicles, along with has had a plow route for 32 years working here. And we've pulled him out of the garage to be a temporary crew leader when we had people out. Again, tremendous job for the community, and a real asset to the highway. And lastly, Bob Senecal, 29 years of service. Same deal. Started as a laborer, worked his way up through the ranks. He currently's been serving as a per diem equipment operator due to a vacancy last year as a retirement. So Bob's been helping us out with that, and again has been involved in countless projects throughout the years. So I just would like to give a thank you to all of them for their commitment and service.
Yeah, we're very thankful for such dedicated employees. That's what happens around here. That's unheard of these days, to have longstanding employees, that are really committed. So we're doing something right there, that we create that kind of environment and that people want to stay and do the work and care about the work the way they do. So we will be sure to acknowledge them at the next town board meeting, and we really are thankful for their service, Ray. Please let them know that.
That would be great, and it's been a pleasure working with all of them through my career.
On that issue, before you move off of this, did you ever get that list? I think we had a conversation with the supervisor about, what we're going to do to move folks. And I think she was going to get you a list maybe from Margot of staff. Did that ever happen?
Yes. Supervisor sent me a roster.
Okay, great. Well, all right. Thank you.
So number 5, yard waste, the dates for this year's pickup and the flyer will be posted in your Niskuna on 3/26/21 and the Gazette on 3/27/21. This will be posted on the town website as well for information in the days and the zones. Just so people have an idea of what to look for. Sidewalks. This I put on the agenda. The supervisor requested that she had a resident concerned about the condition of the sidewalks throughout this winter. Did he join us, or?
I don't see that he has.
Yeah, not yet. I don't know if he's having issues logging in. I sent an email to reach out to him. That's the only method of contact I have.
So can you just give us a brief description of his
Sure.
concerns and his contact with you?
Sure. So on the Knott Street path, essentially right outside of where Town Hall is, that stretch, during extreme weather events, it'll ice over, as you know, that happens, that occurs. So his suggestion was to get a snow broom. Apparently it's a method of decreasing the ice that might form in some other municipalities, that they may or may not use that. And I don't know if we have that equipment to use. Again, it was just an idea that he threw out there to mitigate some of the ice formation.
Okay, so we'll touch on that a little bit. I can just give you a kind of a breakdown. So on any given storm, the sidewalk machine does just under 20 miles of sidewalk throughout the town. And as you know, a couple inch snowfall we can do within an 8-hour day. But big snowfalls, as you know, in the past, we've been up to a week trying to clear snow. from the sidewalks. On a general census, Mother Nature's our friend as far as melting off the sidewalk, because we can't scrape them right down to the bottom. There is a small bit of residual on the sidewalks. So Mother Nature, the sun, usually melts them off pretty good. This year's been a little extreme. I did notice some other complaints in the harsh cold weather there when, you know, you get a little bit of sun during the day, they melt and then they ice over. We do not have a broom capable of doing that. Our brooms are much larger than the width of the sidewalk. I will say, you know, in a dusting to an inch of snow, there's really no windrow on the sides, much to say. But, you know, once you get more than 4 or 6 inches of snow, even when we go down through with the V-plow, the snow falls back in the sidewalk. It just can't get over that hump to keep the sidewalks perfectly clear. I don't think we could possibly accomplish putting material, salt or whatever on the sidewalks. I just think the price would be astronomical for the equipment, the manpower and such. And as far as the broom, I really don't know, you know, although it may be a way of doing it in other places, I don't know that it would be financially or even being able to accomplish it, because I really don't know where the snow would go if we had a considerable amount of snow. But I mean, we can research it more or whatever, but I do think with the extreme temperatures kind of made us kind of vulnerable to these kind of conditions.
Thanks, Roy. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So I'll go on to number 7. Purchase of a snowblower attachment that we currently are renting. The balance of that is $5,708.90. This was a purchase we made during that very large 30-inch snowstorm, just to have additional equipment to try to, you know, get everything done that we needed to get done. Almost impossible to find. We found the only one left in the state, actually. And I had talked to Ismat about this the day that I needed it and said, look, it's the only one I can find. We're going to rent it for now, and I would like to purchase it if it works out the way we're hoping that it does. So that's where we're at now. I had encumbered the money during the 2020 budget to support this. I had the money to fund this within to rent it for these few months and get the price of it down. So Ismat has been with me all along on this with the intentions and to my knowledge supports this purchase of this snowblower.
Ray, what does it do that's different than what, you know, our current equipment does?
It actually, it's a snowblower attachment that goes onto a skid steer loader. So it's just another piece of equipment that enables us to get out there and do areas. I'll give you, for instance, is the circle down at Balltown Road in which we're responsible to clear the snow around the sidewalks. When they plow that circle, just on a 6-inch snowfall, you have 2 foot of snow on the sidewalk in a small area because it's so compacted. We were currently doing it with walk behind snowblowers like you do your driveway with, just not feasible. It just turns to ice. And so this allows us to take a full-size machine down on a trailer and clear snow such as that. We also use this on Knott Street during the big storm. It's a larger unit than what we use on Route 7 and that. It can also be used on the bike path when snow is too heavy to plow with a pickup truck. So it has many uses. and just another piece in our arsenal to be able to, in tough times, accomplish what we need to do.
All right, so it addresses some of the, sidewalk, walkway issues, in other words.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
And I think that's it for me.
Okay, thanks.
Ray,
Morning,
real quick,
Laura.
you just need,
Sorry, go ahead, Elena, sorry.
I was just gonna ask Ray, do you just need finance approval for that purchase?
I believe so. I talked to Ismet. She was going to hold the money that I had encumbered and let me pay for it that way. So yes, I believe it needs to go to finance.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Elena.
Laura, good morning.
Morning. So for Tree Council, we are working on our Arbor Day. We set it for Saturday, April 24th. I think it's still gonna have to be a drive-through Arbor Day because of everything. And so I think we'll put together the kits like we did last year. We ran into some problems last year because we didn't expect it to be so popular, and the giveaway at Town Hall backed the cars up all the way onto Van Antwerp. So the police asked us not to do that this year. So what we were thinking is maybe trying to do the giveaway at the senior center parking lot, so that the cars could line up like Banker, all along Banker, and even like Ravine, so we're not backing cars up into any main roads. So I didn't know if you guys had any thoughts on that, if that was something that we could do. The other place that we thought about was the high school, but the senior center, I think, is just a little bit nicer. And the other thing that we were thinking would be that we might be able to do with the big tree. We plant a big tree every year, and we might be able to plant the big tree up there so that people could drive by the big Arbor Day tree that was planted and then pick up their little seedlings.
Yeah, have you talked to the police about either of those locations that you're looking at, just, to coordinate that effort?
Well, I mean, I figured here would be a good place to ask because obviously you guys know the senior center way better than I do. And then if you're like, hey, that works, then I would make sure that I coordinate everything with the police.
Okay, just so they'd come in along the back, you'd suggest that they come in the back way to the senior center on Banker.
Right, down Banker. Mm-hmm.
And then use that parking lot, maybe the parking lot that's like between the rec center fields, the football fields, and the senior center.
Yeah, exactly. And then they could just go down the hill from there.
How many, do you remember, any idea how many cars you had last time? Just to gauge.
Well, people ended up, so last year I think we were supposed to have 240 trees, but didn't come in. So I think we gave away 200 trees last year. But we turned a fair number of people away. And when people saw the line, a fair number of people drove away. So we were trying to do 300 and 20 this year. And yeah, it should be able to accommodate that, I would hope. I mean, if you guys are okay with it, I'll start coordinating. I just have to pick a spot. Ray was super good. I talked to him for a long time about the seedlings, and I think we're good on ordering the seedlings and the big trees. So we just need to pick a location. So we have date, trees. We just have to hone in on the location.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody wants to jump in on the senior center, location.
I think the senior center would be a good location, Rosemarie. We can find a place to plant the Arbor Day tree down there in conjunction with her tree thing is a drive-through thing, so parking lots are not needed. But I think as you come down Banker Avenue, the more volunteers she has, she could kind of do 3 separate lanes and, kind of get them in and get them out so traffic would not be an issue. I think it's an ideal spot for
anyone else. Yeah, sound okay. You think it'll work if you can picture it. Okay, so the next thing would be to check in with the police and about coordinating the effort there, because obviously we'll have to have some traffic control if we have that many cars at the same time, or at or about the same time. So, anybody else have any other comments?
Are there any big senior programs going on April 24th that you guys know?
Not typically on the weekends. And you know, because of COVID and the fact that we're still gonna be transitioning and coming back online, we should be good.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Yay. So I'll just keep working on that then.
Cool.
Great. Thank you.
Does anybody know has anybody heard rumblings about NISCA Day? Is that going to be a reality for us?
Yeah. I'm on a committee with Jean Sauce now, and she mentioned that they are planning to do something, I think, in August. And I don't have the details of that. Yeah, something different, a modified version, and they were talking about August. But I'll have a meeting with Jean in a few days. I'll ask her about that, and I'll report back on that.
Oh, that's cool. Great. And then Laura, you said April 24th for the tree drive-through?
Yeah, Saturday, April 24th. And we'll put a map together and coordinate with the police department and the highway department on traffic. As long as we feel like that's a good spot, we'll start moving forward.
Yep, we'll just make sure we have any little blockades out of the way. You'll be ready to go.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys.
Oh, the one other thing, I just thought about this, where that is. I don't know about recreation, like if that is going to be, if there's going to be anything going on in those fields, Lori, right?
There may be a lacrosse event that weekend, or they want it to be at Center Road. I think lacrosse may start. I can check with them to find out if this is going to be an issue.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I'll check with them and get back to everybody.
But it just occurred to me that those fields might be, and parking is limited there. So,
well, if they're like a morning, then we could do the Arbor Day in the afternoon. And if they're like an afternoon, then we could do the Arbor Day in the morning. We probably only need, I think, like we usually do a 2-hour chunk of time, but people are always so excited about their trees, they come early. So we probably really just need like an hour and a half.
Let me check with them and I'll find out. If that might even be, they may not start until May. So I know usually
I think
turn
they
around
had
Mother's
May
Day.
or June.
I was just thinking about the soccer club starting in April. So then that's what occurred to me, that like, lacrosse there too. It could be. So we'll double check on that, Lori, and Laura, and Lori will get back to you on that.
Okay. And then for Complete Streets, I sent you guys an email. We're trying to get in the habit of every year, early in the year, to send letters to the state, county, school, and town. Basically just going through priorities, going through things we've heard, and identifying 3 priorities that we want the state, county, everyone to be aware of. We are going to change a little bit of the language in this letter because from the last Complete Streets meeting, we did want to see if we could schedule follow-up meetings with with the state and the county just to talk to them about our priorities too. Understanding that these aren't like things that we're asking for funding now, but knowing that, there's funding sources coming down and making sure that they know that we have some, bicycle and pedestrian priorities. It's always good to just get that information to them. So if they can tuck it into something that they're doing already, or, if something comes down that's like perfect for it, they know that we're looking to see that happen in the future. So take a look at them. You can email me if you have any comments on them. We're trying to get them issued, early. It's already March. I don't know what happened to January and February, but those are, take a look at those letters if you have a chance. Those are the priorities that the Complete Streets has identified for those areas of county roads. And I can go through them if you want quickly, but I emailed them to all you guys.
When did you email those, Laura?
Like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, wow. Okay. All right. We'll look at it.
Like, just for instance, like to the county, like we sent them that our priorities are crossing a crosswalk at Knott and Regent, which we're trying to do already, a crosswalk at St. Joseph's Drive and River Road. We're just trying to continually notify them of our support of these projects. And then the crosswalks and sidewalks on Rosendale Road, which I don't know if the lady came here, but there was a lady on Rosendale Road who was gathering signatures and working on that with the county. So like just, those are actually, the first 2 are projects that are they're trying to be in the works. The third one is something that's probably long-term and needs to be grant funded, but there's definitely support by residents for it. They're actually sort of semi-taking it forward themselves.
Laura, I thought the St. Joe's crosswalk was a non-starter. The county said no way to anything there.
They pushed back on us a little bit, but I I don't give up. That's a very high priority connection for the town. And some of the concerns they had can still be addressed via engineering. So no, we're still moving forward with that to the best of our ability.
Okay.
We're trying to schedule a meeting with them again to see what they need there. Like if it has to be extra signals or, whatever they can come up to make them comfortable with having a crossing there.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, so many people cross there every day. We don't want to leave them hanging.
Okay, any updates on Knott Street?
So the Knott Street project received a lot of comments from you guys. I talked to the engineers. They're going to synthesize all those comments together and then issue like a memorandum that we can issue to the public. And then I think we're aiming to invite public comment on some of the ideas that we had on March 22nd. So at the planning board level. They did talk to me for a long time. There were some concepts for making Via Del Mar one way. And they just said, like, as engineers, they can have they drew up these concepts and we as a town can have them, but they wouldn't recommend them without volume data of the cars. Like you couldn't, as a engineer, just say, we're going to take this road and make it one way without data. They really strongly don't recommend doing that. So what their recommendations were, and it makes a lot of sense to me, is to try and get volume data now, and then you can get volume data after the county project goes in. And if there is significant changes, then we have these prescriptions that we can do to VLMR that they've given us. But if the volume really doesn't change, then the main focus of this project, I think, is going to be the Clifton Crescent Park reconfiguration, which I think, like, basically when we moved the curb cut from the co-op onto Knott Street again, Via Del Mar was, we wanted to look at some treatments, but they're really not recommending making it one way unless we have some data. So I'm working with the police department on getting data. But I think that the main concepts that we'll put out to the town are the Clifton Park Crescent Ave intersection area, get consensus on what people want to see. We sort of have two ideas. One would maximize parking and one would kind of maximize pedestrian amenities there and just get a sense from people really where they wanted to go with that side. And then also, you've brought this up a couple times, making sure that we've got maintenance agreements in place and for anything we build over there so that we're not plowing parking. So they would be obviously taking over management of anything that gets done on that side of the building.
Great, thanks, Laura. Look like some good plans in terms of the potential additional parking. I think I messaged you about that. I took a quick look and
yeah, it's a good group. We've got Complete Streets planning. We had police. I think I've talked to Ray about it. The engineers were there. We had a county planner there. We're just trying to get a bunch of people together to take a look at it so that, and then we'll, let the public take a look at it too and get all their feedback and see if we can build consensus on it. It's still going to be difficult to fund. It's more expensive than I thought it was going to be, but we can get a good plan, then we can work on the funding.
Yeah, that's important. As we've been talking about all along, we need to have that component to get this done. Anything done. Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, the Conservation Advisory Council isn't on here, but I just wanted to quickly say I had also talked to Ray about the Lomo Initiative for the Riverdale, Catherine Woods connection to Blatnick Park there. So we're thinking we'll revise the map and get that out because we met with all those people. Generally, people were fine with it as long as we mowed in front of the split rail fence, to maintain kind of the corridor of the road. And they also wanted to see if it was possible to put wildflowers, at least at the beginning, so that it would be sort of an inviting trail to walk through, not just kind of scraggly long grass. So we're still looking at seeing if we can get wildflowers and things to kind of spruce up the front part of the entrance to the Lomo area, but we're thinking that the timing's right to get that started now in the spring again.
Okay, thanks, Laura. River Road was next.
I mean, I don't have any updates to that since the last meeting. Paul Briggs did send him a letter stating that we don't believe the disputed work is disputed work. It's covered by the contract, so that's been sent to him. And I don't know if I reported this last time, but I mean, the chain link fence was installed. So really all they have left is coming back and doing cleanup in the spring. I sent this email to you guys a couple times. I have heard, I don't know if it's the same couple or if it's multiple residents, but I have heard from definitely multiple different people asking for some additional vegetative landscaping along the east side of the access road, to kind of like the back of the park, just to be considered over time, because they do feel like the improvements are going to continually invite people to use that park, and they do have noise issues, I guess, with people in the pavilions. We don't have any budget right now to do any additional plantings. Over time, like we could certainly use, do Arbor Days and tree projects and stuff to increase the vegetation over there. But I don't have any way to do it immediately unless you guys know of anything.
No, I was going to say that very thing, that could be a project, in terms of a plantings project for one of your groups, like the tree, like tree council, for example.
Yeah, they can definitely do that over time. It'll take a little while, but we'll get there.
Okay. River's Ledge, still same conversation, right? Nothing new on that. Yeah, or is there?
Except the River's Ledge did get their permit from the Canal Corps, so they will start to do their construction down there. Mm-hmm. So one, we should probably coordinate, when they're really going to get their machines into that park and do an email blast so that people know that, it's going to be a difficult park to traverse in for a little while they're building it. But I also think that probably the sooner, if we're going to take, $50,000 from that budget, the sooner the better. I've warned them and I communicate with them as much as possible, but the sooner they know that, the better, what we want to do down there.
Laura,
Okay.
It's Janet. Hi. I'm sorry, I had to step away because somebody was locked out of the building. What are you talking about, $50,000 from a budget?
From the River's Ledge budget. So like this is the conversation that we sort of had at the town board level. You could take $50,000 out of the parkland funds, or you could take $50,000 away from the River's Ledge improvement funds that were managed, that were set aside by the town board and the planning board for improvements to the linear park. We sort of looked at what the $50,000 was set aside for river access, so you could theoretically use it for the improvements to the docks. The advantage to leaving it with River's Ledge is that they will do it, like we're giving them credit for the work that they're doing, so they can do it non-Davis-Bacon wages. They'll probably put a whole lot extra into it, so you're getting like a really good deal for $50,000. The advantage to putting it towards the Canal Corps project is, it's matched. So every dollar that you spend there, you're getting $1 from the Canal Corps. So there isn't really any disadvantage to putting it in either place. It's just you guys want to decide where you want to take that from, and then make sure they know, because they're currently going ahead with their $250,000 project. So, we wouldn't want them to start on stuff without knowing what the scale is that they can do.
Thank you for clarifying that. I'm sorry I had to step away.
No problem.
Yeah, I think, Laura, again, this continues to be a conversation that involves a number of people that probably needs to, happen offline. We need to figure that out, what we're doing, right, and how we're paying for it, etc. Or right. So involves the comptroller for sure, their office. But somebody's raising their hand. Is that you, Seth?
It is. I just posted 2 links where you can get free packages of wildflower seeds. So maybe if you get every person on the committee to submit and get, then you'll have enough seeds to plant your wildflowers.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Seth. Yeah, for that Riverdale area, the Lomo area that you were talking about, Laura.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay, youth representatives, they were appointed at the last meeting. Have many meetings occurred?
We have Conservation Advisory Council tonight, so that'll be our first true meeting with, nope, that's not true. We had Elise come to Complete Streets. She was very helpful. So yeah, we coordinated all the meetings with them. They're officially on the mail out lists. We had a Complete Streets meeting with our youth representative. We have a CAC meeting with another youth representative tonight. They've been lovely. We've had a lot of good conversations with them already, so that's a very fun thing.
Good. Yeah, keep us posted on that. That's exciting, and I'm sure it'll go really well. They'll bring up, hopefully they'll bring in other students and other energy and ideas. So yeah, keep us posted on that. That's fabulous. Thanks, Laura. Anything else that you want to touch on?
I think that's it.
Okay, I'll report on the farmers market. We had another meeting last week. We're gearing up, as I think I've mentioned before. We're looking to expand the market this year, make it 15 weeks instead of 10, expand the offerings. It was very successful. We actually, and again, it was a community event that made money last year, and we have every intention of that happening again this year. So we are increasing, the availability. A lot more people are interested. We hope to expand it with, depending on what COVID restrictions are still in place, to have entertainment and other options. Last year we couldn't have no markets could have like food on site that you could eat, and that is a very popular item normally in farmers markets. So we're hoping that restrictions will be lifted so that we can do that kind of thing. We've reached out to a lot of, again, Niskayuna vendors to see if they're interested in doing, and having booths there, etc. So, put out a call for volunteers. We did pick up some new committee members, 3 very active ones, and that continues. The more the merrier. We're meeting again next week if anybody's interested, but things are going well in terms of planning. Libby Kokosha is the chair of that committee. And again, that's a partnership with NCAP, with Niskayuna Community Foundation, and some other entities. So it's another great collaboration of folks in Niskayuna. So things are going well there. Did you have anything to add to that, Supervisor?
I do not, thank you.
All right, thanks, Yasmin. Okay, recreation, Lori.
All righty. Our ski club ended on the 12th. We had 42 kids, 25 of which rode the bus. I feel it was a resounding success just to be able to get them out there. They were basically there every single week, and it was just nice to get back to a semi-normal situation. The kids were thrilled. Julie did a wonderful job, so kudos to her and all the volunteer parents that were able to volunteer and get a ski pass at the same time, but they were great help. Adult Tai Chi, we had to revise the date a couple times due to closure of our town facilities, but it's now been set for March 16th to May 18th. Dr. Chu, who runs the program, is extremely excited, as are a number of people, new participants who've been reaching out, just looking forward to doing something new. So it's kind of exciting. We've started our summer program book, which is the highlight of the summer. It's set to be released on April 1st, as well as registrations open on that same day. We've had great responses from all of our instructors. Everybody's willing to come back, work with COVID protocols, but think it might be a little bit more successful than it was last year. So we're very, very excited.
Lori, on that issue, I was going to say, in coordination with Elena. Elena, I don't know if you have the access to the COVID protocols that we had in place last year, but if you don't, let's talk about that. Let's make sure you have those, and then work with Lori, not only for summer camp, but also for the instructors that come in and do their own camps. And then I was thinking also about these other organizations, Elena, that are going to be coming in, the clubs, etc. What we did last year was, we gave them some guidelines, but they were responsible for having their COVID protocols in place. So I just think it's something, as we get closer to that, we better make sure we're squared away with. So maybe I know you and I and Lori have to meet about a couple of things. Maybe we could address that at that time as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks.
And I need to have at some point rather soon a discussion about the staffing for our summer playground program. Last year, we had to do some modifications where we did not have the CIT program. We did not have junior counselors, just so we could keep lower numbers at the camp. And at some point, normally I send out letters April 1st to the staff from the prior year. So I kind of need to make a call soon as to how we're going to run this again. It's just, Julie's had a meeting with other associations. Some people are moving forward, some are not. So it's one of those gray areas that I kind of have to make a call soon and make a decision. So I'd like to have a conversation with you guys and
Yeah, let's
maybe
add that
we
to
can
the list
throw it
of
all
things
out there.
for that meeting, like maybe put together a little agenda of items that we need to talk about, Lori.
You got it.
And that's one of them. And I agree. I would want to, one of the first questions I'd be asking is, right, what's Clifton Park doing? What are some of the other municipalities? And from what you're saying, they're doing different things. Some people
Exactly. Yeah.
are. So let's add that to the list of discussion items to figure out how we're going to move forward.
You got it.
Quickly.
Okay.
I understand quickly.
I know. All right. Bunny Parade. Well, now hearing what Laura had to say about the tree, because her tree giveaway, we were going to also do a drive-through event at Town Hall, but thought that if we had people come in and then the bunny was placed, we'd have volunteers handing out bags of candy. The bunny was placed on the other side of the gazebo as they were driving out. The traffic would not be that bad, but now I'm wondering, I need to have a discussion with Fran to see if this is possible, or maybe snake them through the parking lot. I can't see that there'd be a huge holdup, but if Laura said there was an issue with her event when they were just handing out saplings, I'm wondering if we're going to have the same issue.
What's going to happen? Are they just going to drive by and wave and get it?
Yeah, we can't stop and can't sit on the bunny's lap this year.
Right.
So they were going to drive through, get a bag of candy, and on the other side, the bunny was going to be over there and wave to them. So, I mean, it's a modified event, but at least, we're kind of inching back to the way things used to be.
But I could certainly see a traffic issue for the same reason. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to add that to the conversation, because that date is Friday, April 2nd. And we usually hold it from 10 to 11. So we normally have, I want to say, between 100 and 125 people. And it's usually when the weather is cooperating. So, I mean, even if it's raining, the event will not be held, but I really would like to have this happen, just because I want to get back to normal.
Understood.
All right. Spring soccer. With much deliberation, Julie and I both decided that at this point, we could not hold it. She'd spoken to some referees. She'd spoken to some parents. Everybody was still a little on edge, not knowing how many people were still going to be vaccinated by that point. It's early April. So we've decided to call it and just put all our efforts into fall soccer. Fall soccer is going to be huge this year. So, I mean, soccer program in the spring is quite a bit smaller than the fall, but it's still a lot of crowding, a lot of people on the sidelines, and it's just too much we just didn't feel comfortable. So, I mean, and we would have had to start planning and hiring and registering people well before now. So we've decided to make the call. And I totally agree with Julie on this. All right, calendar for the parks and courts. We had a discussion about this last month, and right after, Seth jumped in and said he'd be more than happy to help me. He had some ideas. He's been in the middle of a project. I've been working remotely, so we're going to get together and hash it out, and we're going to come up with a solution. So there's something out there so everybody at a glance will know, I'm heading to Blatnick Park, and take a look at the the schedule, and there's tennis camp tonight, so I can't go over and use all the courts. So I think it'll be very helpful for all the residents. We'll integrate the Rec 1 calendar that we currently have with the pavilion rentals, and so everything is in one spot at a glance.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Seth.
Next is the license agreements. Elena, are
Right.
you still here?
I see her. There she is.
I am sorry. Okay, so we are still working through the license agreements with Lacrosse Club on the tournaments that they would like to hold. I do believe that their email had indicated May or June was the ideal time in which they would like to hold that, either one weekend or 2 consecutive weekends. But the big issue that I think we need to work out is that they ideally would like to use Zenner soccer fields, and I don't know that that's something that's actually going to be doable. So I just specifically with respect to their agreement, I think that that's going to be something that we're going to have to work out as to whether or not there's any possible alternative fields for which they can hold those tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be a separate because I don't have access to that. And again, we talked about the wear and tear and the weather issues and having alternate dates, which we can again continue those conversations. I'm not sure where you are, if you've had any further since the last I knew. Yeah, again, that's on that list of things that we need to hammer out.
Correct. And then we also have to continue to have negotiations and discussions with Soccer Club and Firestorm additionally to work out field usage this year with respect to those 2 clubs. And I did have a conversation with Lori last night. Rosemary, I'd be happy to have a discussion with you sometime later today or tomorrow if you're available, and we can talk about what we have left to work through and next steps on those items.
Okay. Yeah, we need to do that. Lori, where is Lacrosse? Where's their normal spaces up at the rec fields?
Exactly.
And
yes.
When that starts, when?
I believe April. I don't have the license agreement in front of me, but I think it's April through June.
Okay. And Ray, is there anything normally you do? Like you might know what soccer, what clubs are where. Is there anything that do they communicate with you before they show up? Do you communicate with them? Is there anything that needs to be done?
I usually get a kind of a calendar from Lori for use, and we make sure that we go up and clean all the fields and look for sinkholes. We kind of inspect them for any kind of liabilities on our part. Fill holes if needed, seed. We would like to, do some overseeding this year. We rebuilt some equipment over the last couple of years that we have, and we'd like to utilize some more overseeding and stuff. So kind of goes by the weather, if they're dry enough to get out on, as to when we start actually visually inspecting the fields and doing small maintenance. So, and also Charlie has to have that kind of the dates to coordinate to turn the water on for the bathrooms and for the line painting and stuff like that.
All right. So we'll look at that, Lori. That's another reason I'll get that all in order in terms of who's going to be where to communicate with Ray about that.
Dates are important to us to try to accommodate everybody. Once everybody starts, it's kind of chaos to try to be there for everybody. So we try our best, and Lori's been awesome as far as giving us the information we need to try to accommodate everybody.
Okay, we'll work on that and make sure you get that, Ray. Sponsorship ad revenue initiative. We kind of stalled a little bit on that. We had one meeting to discuss some issues, and I'm not sure where we are with that right now.
So I spoke with Lori on this last night as well. I think that we're going to be okay to move forward with it. I think, Lori, you said you were going to speak with Lisa and work on having her finalize the paperwork and the purchase orders and those things, correct?
Exactly. And then she'll shoot it to you for your final approval. And then all we have to do is come up. I think we've already started a fee structure, and then just start mailing out the letters.
Okay. Okay, great. I'll look forward to hearing more about that when we meet, but I'm glad to see that's going forward. Do we have any resolutions for March, potentially hirings?
Well, now I'm going to hold off on hiring until April. I like to keep everybody on one condensed list, not have, sprinkle them in through the months. But I would also I'd like to apply for permission to apply for a Niskayuna Community Foundation grant again this year. Last year we received 2. One was for the blow up screen and the movie. I'm losing it today.
Yeah, we haven't heard about that.
Yeah, the movie screen, the projector, everything. It was a resounding success. And also for the senior center, they still have to work on their bocce court for this year. So I've been trying to come up with some ideas. I also wanted to touch base with Ray because sometimes we will connect to see if something would benefit the parks. So I'd like to have an idea in the next couple of weeks and then just apply for it. I think it's due the mid to end April. So
we should talk about this too. We had a meeting with the lacrosse club, and although they weren't specific, they were sort of tangentially talking about applying for a grant, perhaps in connection with the lacrosse box, and that it would be across, that they'd have a better chance of getting some funding for whatever it is they want to do up there, which is still not clear. If they did it, if we applied jointly with the school, club, and the town. So we should factor that in. If they're going to do it, great. If they're not, then, we should know one way or another. Just add that sort of to the list of things that we should find out about. Okay. Thanks, Laura. Senior program, Linda?
Hi. Yes, we are putting final touches on the transition process. So we're ready for reopen for Tuesday, March 16th. That's the goal. We have that, when I say that, it means working on updating signage for traffic flow with our lunch program. We've had to reconfigure the flow both outside and inside. We've also had to make sure that we get our messages out to the papers. So we've been doing a general message for them, which just, updates them as to how things are looking and generally speaking what we're doing. We haven't been attaching a calendar until now. So now we're going back to normal business, and we've got our April calendar together, and that'll be going out to the papers, and we'll start, gradually getting back on schedule with them. Through this whole process, we've been continually updating email communications to our public. We have almost 700 just on the senior list alone when we do a blast to them. So typically we are in the habit of blasting to townwide because there's a lot of caregivers and family members or whatever, and they all kind of help keep everybody in the loop. We're also very keenly aware of the fact that while we're focusing on reopen, we're also going to be serving 2 masters in the sense that we're going to have to continue to support seniors at home for a while until everything really kind of gets back to normal. The lunch partnership with Gershon's, it continues to be strong and very well received. We did 400 lunches for February alone, and we had 1 snow day in there. So that was a hustle. It seemed to go off no problem. Tony's been a great partner for us over at Gershon's. People seem very happy with that. This week, she put out a March menu, and that's also been received very well. So we had 76. We had 76 orders yesterday, and we have another 76 orders for Thursday. So we're off to a pretty good start for March. As we've talked about how this is going to look and how this is going to evolve as the world reopens, and we're thinking that there's an automatic balance or like an automatic built-in component as far as things coming back online. So we fully expect to see those numbers kind of go back and kind of reach a sweet spot for us, and that'll help us both from an operational standpoint as well as because the consideration has to be given to Gershon, so I'm sure their business is going to start to go back to some sort of normalcy as well. So we're good. Everything's good, and people seem happy, and we're just going to kind of keep rolling with that and see what happens. What else? Chair yoga. The Eddie Chair Yoga will transition to in-house starting the 18th. And then all other classes, we're going to transition those over time. We're just going to kind of work with our instructors and our folks, and just, as we'll do what we can as we can. So we're not rushing anything. We've got the place ready to go in a lot of different levels, and we've got the manpower to do it. So we're just, it's a balancing act. So we do hear from our seniors, and they're ready. They want to get out, and they want to keep coming, or get back to coming in person. So we did a blast. Lisa did a blast for us on the exercise program, and just this week we had 10 new emails just for exercise alone. So that brings us up to a total of 64. We did February saw another delivery of activity packets, and we did another 3 dozen cupcake deliveries. And I'm telling you, they're really, people love them. So Matt is in high demand. I think I'm not quite sure what they're going to do, because that's been such a high point, having that delivery and having that, smiling face show up at someone's door. It just breaks up the day. So people are going to miss him when we say, oh no, you got to, come on back into the center. But we'll see how that goes. It's a good problem. It's a happy problem to have. Our phones have been really much quieter with regards to vaccines. So we're not getting any questions. We're not getting any phone calls with regards to signing up. We are getting anecdotal, which is, those stories about having had the vaccine, where they had it, how they were feeling. The pharmacies, by far and away, are starting to prove successful with, opening up appointments and so on and so forth. And I hear a lot of people going there. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's great. You guys have done a tremendous job, especially with respect to the vaccines, but fielding calls, getting information, the information put out, the way you've helped, people navigate that very complicated situation, burdensome situation. So kudos to all of the staff for really working hard and in all the ways that you do. But this vaccine was sort of like, you got up to speed quick. You learned a whole new thing, and we're able to, facilitate information and help people out with this very important information. So thank you guys. I forgot, under you, Lori, I forgot to ask about storyboards. I wanted to mention the new storyboards at River Road Park, that they're up. I saw an article in the paper about them. It's something else for our residents to take advantage of. I haven't checked it out yet.
Not either, but I saw the article in the paper. It's nice.
Yeah, so that's really great. I'm glad we were able to get that done and have that available for folks. Does anybody have anything else before we close up the meeting? Okay, our next meeting is scheduled for April 7th at 8:15. Is that the first Wednesday? I assume it is. Yep, first Wednesday, 8:15 a.m. Not clear about whether it'll be virtual or, I guess probably, because I'm not sure that everyone will be vaccinated, but likely virtual again, April 7th at 8:15. We look forward to having you and anybody else who wants to join us then, and everyone have a lovely day. All right, bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Bye. Bye.